Alright, so characters that I think would be allowed into the power plant and why they would be allowed in. Alright, so Alice, I think she would be able to get unescorted access because she's got a good history. I don't think there's any criminal records of her. Anything that would come up on a psychological test. Maybe the symmetry thing, but there's plenty of people who work in the industry who've got some kind of little issues like that. Anby, I think she might be able to get an escorted to her. I'd put both Anbys in the same one because her background may not have the exact depth that they desire for a background check to allow her to get unescorted access, but I think she could get escorted and into basically anywhere with an escort. Anton, I think, might be too dangerous. He might be a little too impulsive to go into the radiation-controlled area, but he could definitely get in. Arya, I also think, could get in, but again, because she's an intelligent construct and probably can't get biometrics done properly, I don't think they would allow her into the RCA because that might cause issues with dosimetry. Astra Yao. Now, this is a tough one. I think she would be allowed into the plant. I don't see any reason she wouldn't. And I think it would be more of a personal preference thing that she wouldn't want to go into the radiation-controlled area, but I think she would be allowed in. Vanye, another intelligent construct, who, yeah, he might have issues with dosimetry, so I don't think they would allow him in. Ben Bigger, shown to be very responsible and generally a pretty safe and respectful guy, so I think he would be able to get unescorted access. Billy, another intelligent construct, but he's a bit of a loose cannon, so definitely, again, escorted only on the safe walking path. Bernice, no access. She would horribly fail the psychological evaluation, and she would try to do something that would not be acceptable on the tour, so I don't think she would be allowed in. Caesar, I think she'd be allowed in the radiation-controlled area because she's always come across to me as someone who can be safe, be careful. Cecilia, criminal past, no access. Corin, I believe Corin's canon age is 16, which means I don't believe she would be allowed into the radiation-controlled area. At least most tour guides I know wouldn't let her in. So I'm going to say that she would be allowed in, but she just wouldn't be allowed into the radiation-controlled area. Dialin, I think, could obtain unescorted access. I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be allowed to. She doesn't have a criminal past. She's got a good track record with her employer. I think she could get in. Ellen, again, I believe is... I don't know if she's canonically a minor, but she's canonically a student, so I'm just going to go on a limb and say that they'd probably only want her on the safe walking path. If she was in college and she was studying a field that was more related to the plant, they might allow her into the RCA, but I don't know, so I'm going to put her on the safe walking path. Evelyn, she does not have a criminal history, and to be a bodyguard in the way she is, she would definitely be able to have passed a lot of background checks, so I think she could be able to obtain unescorted access. Grace would probably have no issues inside of the plant, and she's also a very technical person, so she'd probably be able to get unescorted access into the plant as a contractor. Harumasa, I don't see why he would have issues getting into the radiation-controlled area, but his health issues may be of concern, so they might want to keep him to the safe walking path. Hugo, no access. He's literally a criminal. He's a thief. They definitely wouldn't let him in. Jane could probably get unescorted access if she wanted it, but if we're going based on if someone is giving it to her like a normal person, she would probably not be allowed in. Jufufu is probably safe enough to get into the RCA as well. Kalita, considering she runs her own entire construction company, I think she's probably responsible enough and safe enough to be able to obtain unescorted access to the plant. Lighter will probably be allowed to be escorted into the radiation-controlled area because I don't think I would give him unescorted access because he might not pass the background checks, but there's no reason I can think of that he wouldn't be allowed everywhere else. Lucia should probably be kept within sight at all times like any escort, but especially so because she's probably going to think things are ethereals and start seeing things, and Lord knows what she's going to do. Lucy, I don't see any reason that she shouldn't be allowed into the radiation-controlled area, but I'm not sure why, but I don't feel like she would be able to obtain unescorted access. Lycon, he is related in some ways to Hugo, but I don't believe he actually has a criminal past, and he's a very responsible person, and I think he could be able to obtain unescorted access. Monato, we've seen him with being a very responsible father and being able to handle everything very responsibly, so I think he could get unescorted access. Miyabi is already the head of Section 6, so she would need to probably get into somewhere like this for security reasons, and I think she would easily be able to obtain unescorted access. Nangong might have some tendencies that they don't like in a psychological evaluation, so I don't know if she would be able to get into unescorted access, but I don't see why she couldn't get into the radiation-controlled area. Nekomata has a criminal past, so I would say she does not get access. Nicole would absolutely need to be escorted because there are things in a plant that look like they're just some normal piece of equipment would actually cost like $300,000, so I think she would probably try to steal something if she was working there. I think we need to keep a close eye on Nicole. Orphe, I think, would get escorted into the radiation controlled area because she seems like she could handle herself, so I would put her in that tier. Magus, I don't have listed separately, but I think would be able to get unescorted access. Yinhu, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to get unescorted access if he needed to. Piper suffers from seemingly very bad either insomnia or narcolepsy, Lord knows what, but she's always sleepy, and I don't think that would go well on an evaluation for getting access to the plant, and I don't know if she would be safe in a radiation-controlled area, so I would say keep her on the safe walking path. Promia, I think, would not get access because of her history. Same with Pulchra. Pulchra would definitely not be allowed in because she definitely has some kind of criminal record. Juyuan, unescorted access. If she can be licensed as a police officer, she can definitely get inside, considering New Eridu seems to be a bit stricter than other places. Rena. Rena might have some issues with the fact that she's a ghost, so I don't know if she would be able to use dosimetry, in which case I think she might be stuck on the safe walking path. Seed, I don't know where to put Seed. I freaking hate Seed, and I'm not going to rank her out of principle. Seth. Seth would probably be able to get an escorted tour into the RCA. I don't know if he would be able to get unescorted access. Actually, I think he could. He's a pretty level-headed guy. He could get in. Soldier 11, I think could get an escorted tour just like Andy, but again, I don't think she could be unescorted because she's a clone, therefore her background check is very iffy. Sokaku would probably be kept to the safe walking path because she's probably not someone you want to get into something that's potentially radioactive because she might try to eat it. Suna, I also think, would be kept to the safe walking path because she doesn't seem like she would be very happy going into an area that's marked with all kinds of signs that say ionizing radiation or radiation area or the like. Trigger, I think, could get escorted into the RCA. Even though she can basically see with her senses, she is technically blind, and I don't think they would allow her in unescorted. Vivian has a history with Mockingbird, so I think that she would not be allowed into the plant at all. Yanagi, I believe, could get unescorted access because she's an officer with Section 6, and she's shown herself to be basically one of the bosses, and I think she could use either her connections or her history to very easily get unescorted access. Shunguang, I think, would fail a psychological evaluation, so would not be able to get unescorted access, but I don't see why she wouldn't be able to get an escorted tour basically anywhere else. Yudhari, they might want to keep her on the safe walking path only because they don't want her tentacles to possibly pick up contaminants. You really don't want anything that's sticky or has a lot of static electricity in the radiation-controlled area because contaminants can stick to those, and that can be a big problem when trying to get out of the area. Yizhuan, I think, would go into unescorted access because she's the Grand Master, she's the head of Yunkoi Summit. I think she could very easily pass all of the tests needed for unescorted access. Yuzuha, I think, could probably get an escorted tour of the radiation-controlled area. I don't know if she would be the ideal candidate for unescorted access because she has that Tanuki with her, and I don't know if she's going to try to take it with her, and that would be a big issue. Zhao, I believe, could get unescorted access because of her position with Krampus, and that would definitely do well for her background check, and she's probably had to already do many for that position. So fight with me in the comments over this tier list. I will not rank Seed because I hate Seed, and okay, I'm done here.